Hi everybody. Okay, so welcome to our descriptive or informative speech lecture. And I know I kind of interchange informative and descriptive, but you'll find out why. So you will be able to find this document in files, although I'm going to start marking it up. So you're going to go onto the online files and you are going to find this document. It's also linked into my modules. So anyway, let's go ahead and start. So when you give a speech to inform, your job is to teach or to share knowledge that you have. You're kind of like acting like a teacher. Remember, your GP and your SP are still going to be to inform my audience and to inform my audience about blank. There are three types of informative speeches. There's the descriptive. I like to call this the noun speech because you have to stop and think. What's the definition of a noun? A person, place, or thing. But I kind of switch it up. It's person, place, object for thing, makes it more academic. And then we also include holiday and events in here. Then we have concept speeches. Folks, concept speeches you can't do. Why? It's like you're explaining, let me explain the concept of Christianity. Let me explain the concept of nuclear fission. It's just not going to work. It's too detailed, too cerebral. People don't really latch on to that as a topic. And the third type of informative speech is the process, also referred to as the how-to, and I'm sorry, you're not doing it. It's very easy because most people just want to do how to make brownies. No, can't do that. So most of the instructors here have their students do a descriptive speech. So let's go ahead and talk about the person, place, or thing. And then we're also going to include holiday and event. First, let's talk about the person. This person can be alive or they can be dead. Usually they have to be famous. I don't want you to give your speech on Uncle Jim. I love my Uncle Jim, but I would not give a speech about Uncle Jim. So it could be a single person, or you can use it to a group of people. But again, everybody has to be famous. So when you give a person speech or a group speech, you can give it in what's referred to as chronological order. Usually when we're doing chronological order, it goes from their birth until their death. Now, mind you, remember how we did the samples before in class? So now we're going to take a look at the samples with outlining for your very first speech. We're going to take a look at the birth. So birth would be Roman numeral number 1, birth or childhood, or you could call it the early years. Roman numeral number 2 would be the early career. Roman numeral number 3 would be a later career. And then Roman numeral number 4 would be death. Folks, you never put the death in the conclusion. Usually famous people die in some famous way. So if you were doing Elvis Presley, you would talk about the birth of Elvis Presley, Roman numeral number 1, where he grew up, how he had a twin, where his middle name Aaron came from. Then you transition right into his early career, going on the Ed Sullivan Show, starting, with the haircut, the jeans, the white t-shirt. And then you transition and move into Roman numeral number 3. His later career, I like to call this the fat years, where he goes to Vegas and then he's starting to make movies and stuff like that. And then Roman numeral number 4 would be Elvis's death. And usually famous people die in famous ways. And for him, he died in Vegas on the toilet. Also, Judy Garland, right, from The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, she died on the toilet, but in France. Wee wee. Okay. So, if this famous person didn't die, then you don't have a Roman numeral on their death. You can also do it like with groups. So we've got the Beatles. You're all familiar with the Beatles, and I know you're all familiar with Elvis. So the Beatles, Roman numeral number 1, formation of the band in England, not English, that's funny, typo. Number 2, their British success, how they rose to fame in England. Roman numeral number 3 would be their hop across the pond into the United States. And then number 4 would be the breakup of the band, kind of like a death. Don't forget your transitions, because apparently I did. Okay, when I was typing this sucker up. So I'm going to save that. I'll move to my next slide. Done. So, you can also do it in another format. This one would be called topical order for people. So the main topic is as such, and then from the main topic you would have, what am I looking for? Hold please. All right. Well, I'm not oh, there. Duh. Markup. All right. So if you were going to do a different way, you would do it in what's called topical order, where you have the main topic, and then the main topic has a variety of subcategories. So the example I did here was Jennifer Lopez and her men. Roman numeral number 1 would be Ben Affleck. Roman numeral number 2 would be Mark Anthony. And now the new guy, Roman numeral number 3 would be A-Rod. Or you can flip it to another one, which would be J-Lo's career. Roman numeral number 1 would be her musical career. Roman numeral number 2 would be her movies. Roman numeral number 3 would be her merchandising, kind of like at Kohl's, where you can buy her fragrance or her clothing line or whatever. So how she markets herself. You can also do this with groups. So as you can see, I did the main topic is going to be the Beatles, and we're going to look at their members. Roman numeral number 1 would be Ringo. Roman numeral number 2 would be George. Roman numeral number 3 would be Paul. And Roman numeral number 4 would be John. You could also do it with South Park characters. Roman numeral number 1, Stan. Number 2, Kyle. Number 3, Kenny. Number 4, Cartman. So that's one way that you can go about it as well. Done with that slide. Come on. Okay. Sorry, technology. This card changes. You can also look at places. So remember, we did people. Now we're on to places. You can take a look at places in topical order. So in looking at topical order, see, now I got this. Look at me, I'm a genius. Let's say you're going to go to Germany. And you're going to do it to various topics of Germany. Number 1 could be history. Roman numeral number 2 could be food and beer. Roman numeral number 3 could be landmarks. Remember when we did how to travel outside of the United States as a sample speech? That's a how-to, but that's kind of topical in order. We then have objects. Remember, we did person, persons, places, objects. This is your things. I know I have horrible writing. So for example, you could do like luxury hybrid vehicles. I had a student give this, but there's a disclaimer. Don't tell us which one to buy, or then it becomes persuasive. Persuasive is a no-no. So Roman numeral 1 would be you talking about the Tesla. Roman numeral number 2 would be you talking about the BMW luxury hybrid. And number 3 would you be talking about the Lexus luxury hybrid. Or I had one student that gave an entire speech on Tesla because he worked for Tesla. He built Teslas. So Roman numeral number 1 for him was the location of the battery. Roman numeral number 2 was the Apple iPad interface. Roman numeral number 3 was the model and the cost of it. Okay. So that was a neat speech. Everybody really enjoyed that one. Also in here, you can put in various medical conditions or learning issues such as diabetes or autism. You then can talk about, as another aspect, events and holidays. Disclaimer, don't push a frat or sorority event. Usually, these suckers go topical in order. So the example I have here is the Strawberry Festival. Roman numeral number 1, Oxnard location and days. Maybe even the cost to get in. Roman numeral number 2, the foods to eat there, like strawberry popcorn, strawberry funnel cake, strawberry shortcake, strawberry pies. I love the Strawberry Festival. And then you could talk about the games and the contests that they have there. So they do have strawberry bond contests, like for people's hair, strawberry pie eating contests, and then they've got some games, kind of like a carnival games. That's what I was looking for. So those would be events or holidays. Cancel, discard changes, move to the next slide. And then you can also take a look at, let me edit this slide now. You can also take a look at holidays. So I've got an example of Halloween. Roman numeral number 1, trick-or-treating. Number 2, jack-o'-lantern carving. Number 3, false solstice connection. All of those come into play. Again, remember you need to use transitions in between all of these main points. I just didn't have a chance to type it all in. This is the hardest thing to think about because you are going to have to submit your topic on Canvas for homework. So I always tell people, think about the music you listen to. Think about the movies. Think about, your shows that you watch on your iPad or your iPod. Okay. But don't overthink it. Keep it really simple. All right? And I think that's about it for the lecture. You do have, again, homework on Canvas. All right? And so you're going to go into Canvas with me momentarily. That's another video.